Morning, sorry for the delay, we were at the planning commission.
Ran a little late.
Okay, we need a motion to approve minutes from October 23rd.
Second.
Commissioner Bigelow? Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Absent on this meeting.
So you're basically gonna have to stay.
That's-
Absent.
Okay.
October 23rd.
Okay. I mean, that's okay though. I don't have to abstain, though, do I?
Yes. Because you didn't have that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
And I got a couple things to report.
Okay.
First one is on
I reviewed the
financials.
minutes. It should be there.
First thing I'm reporting on is my financials from November 7th. I approved Resolution 18-150, and it was a supplemental appropriation for the juvenile court care and custody fund and their salaries, Medicare, and OPERS intensive monitoring accounts. And then item number 3, I approved items on November 7th and November 8th, as was authorized by you under Resolution 18-077. On November 7th, 2018, for Department of Aging, I accepted the resignation of Thomas McGrew, transportation driver, number 1020, to be effective November 7th, 2018. On November 8th, 2018, on behalf of the Department of Aging, I grant permission to advertise for the position of full-time transportation driver, job number 1020. This position will remain posted until filled.
Good morning.
Morning.
So today's financials include appropriations transfers from the general fund to the sheriff's salary, supplies, and contract services accounts to reimburse them for ICE transports, and an appropriations transfer from the sheriff's office from their hospitalization account to their salary account in order to true up for year-end needs, and a supplemental for ADP to use, set up encumbrances in their new contract services fund. Among the cash transfers are cash transfer from various funds, including the general fund, to pay the October 2018 Windstream bill, and cash transfers from the Commissioner's Office to the Public Assistance Fund for our second quarter state fiscal year mandated share, and also sewer water debt retirement fund for the 2018 second half debt payment. Among the encumbrances are travel requests from the Auditor's Office, JFS, and the Juvenile Court. And the vouchers include $7,162.60 from ADP to SHI International for a Cisco 48-port fiber switch, $1,934.24 from the Commissioner's Office to the City of Chardon for the fourth quarter share of the pretrial release officer, and $28,427 from maintenance to Lebanon Ford for a 2019 model Ford Explorer. And finally, revenue certification from Transit to certify additional revenue received from the state.
Just a quick one. Is Glenn here? No. The maintenance for the Ford Explorer. This was discussed in the budget.
Yeah,
correct.
that's replacement.
Okay, good. And then I guess my next question is this the state bid list? This Lebanon Ford?
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
They buy a huge inventory of them. They're on the space.
I understand. We do have some local Ford dealers, and I've talked to a couple
Right,
of them.
you mentioned,
Right,
yep.
and they've been pretty, not aggressive, but, interested in our business,
Mhm.
And so I hope that we're talking to them or keep, putting them in the loop as well when we're going out to look for these. We're not just going straight to the bid list, right?
I think he did attempt to talk with some of the local places.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I know, there may be
mean,
some dealers that stock
I get
it's a
it.
standard police interceptor, but a lot of places don't.
Well, this is just a Ford Explorer for maintenance.
It's probably the police interceptor model, just because that's typically what you're getting for county purposes, because it's heavy duty. It
they
doesn't
just don't end up
Yeah.
retrofitting it with all the normal
Mhm.
police equipment.
Okay.
But it's heavier duty, so
Right.
I don't think it really costs you more
I mean,
than a
just
civilian one.
to throw it out there, next time we
Right.
do this.
I think we do try and do that as much as possible, so.
Well, we need
I
to
don't know.
make sure people are.
I don't know if we are,
Yeah.
because I've talked to a couple of these dealers and they say that, they're not being contacted, so, or they've been contacting us and, maybe,
Well,
we're
we
just going
probably-
straight to this
We
level.
probably do the local dealer in Geauga County. If he doesn't stock any of those, then we just say, well, people aren't gonna stock that because
Right.
they don't know if they'll sell it.
Okay,
But if there's other dealers in the Cleveland area that do stock it, we need to know about
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Agree.
good.
Any other questions?
So moved.
Second,
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lyon?
yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hmm?
That's good. Okay, Craig.
And your packets are in front of you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so we're here this morning just for your benefit to give you an annual report. Our bylaws and intergovernmental agreement states that we should provide at least an annual report on the state of workforce. Recognize you have a lot on your agenda, so we're just going to hit the highlights and open it to questions pretty quickly. I brought Margot with me. Margot is the manager of the Ohio Means Job Center for Geauga County, and her staff are the ones that are the boots on the ground and do all the amazing work that they do in, day out, all year long. So there's a couple of packets in front of you, a lot more information than obviously we're going to go over. First thing, obviously, what we start with is the agenda. This is our adult dislocated worker agenda, our budget. We also have youth monies as well too, but that goes mostly to the providers for direct youth services. So if you just go towards the bottom of that, you can kind of see how we're planning on spending our money throughout the year. 43,000 of it goes towards operating the OMJ Center. That's the WIOA share. We have 20,000 set aside for paying a third party to do business services on an annual basis. 145,000 goes towards staffing the OMJ Center. $6,000 in subscriptions, $5,000 in equipment and supplies, $40,000 to help educate individuals to help underwrite and pay for their tuition. We have $5,000 set aside for on-the-job training. $10,000. This will be the first time we're doing incumbent worker training. We're going to start offering that to employers in January. We have $15,000 set aside to do a boot camp, apprenticeship, a customized or specialized training. We have some ideas towards that, have started some general discussions, and are looking to maybe do that towards the summer of this year. Special initiatives, $10,000. A lot of that, a lot of our special initiatives and what we're paying attention to in workforce is building a better pipeline from the schools to employers. And Margot can go into more extent on that, but that has basically involved us reaching out to the school districts and working on special initiatives with them. We're in the middle of planning right now with the Chardon School Districts for job fair. We're working with the ESC for their business advisory community for 4 different districts, and also have been attending the Business Advisory Council for the school district of Hempstead as well too. And so right now we're looking for potentially maybe 3 job fairs this year. The one that Margot and her group has been doing, the reverse job fair with Auburn. We're looking to do a job fair for Chardon, and then a combined job fair for all the rest of the school districts, and carrying all those out sometime this spring. Supportive services, $2,500. That's basically our budget. That's how, it's not a huge budget, but that's how we're planning on spending the money this year. Wanted to bring you this little report. This is a great snapshot and something maybe we need to provide regularly to the Geauga County Commissioners. Looks like this is the help wanted. This comes from OMJ.com, which is the state's in-demand online job system. It's also linked into Monster, so this covers the want ads in Monster, but it's just a nice snapshot. The last one that's printed out this is for the month of August. We should be getting September's here very shortly, but it just shows you in Geauga County the employers that are hiring and the positions. So, good summary. University Hospitals has the top number of 76, Kent State 15, Legacy Health 14, so on and so forth. Also gives you the breakdown of the positions, the types of positions, 24 registered nurses being sought as of August, 21 first-line supervisors. You go above that, it breaks down the salary range. broken out of less than 30K all the way to plus 100K. And then it gives you a nice breakout of the education levels as well too. 69.6% of the jobs need GED or high school, and then going up through associates, bachelor's, and doctoral degrees. In the back, or the second page of that, just also breaks down kind of into industry sectors, with healthcare practitioners and technical occupations being the leading 16%, sales and related occupations being second at 12%, transportation 10%, so on and so forth. The last thing in my group before I hand it over to Margot, two things we brought for you. These are just our summary of our income and our expenditures as a region for our three-county region, which includes Ashtabula and Portage counties as well as Geauga. And then finally, we are held to standards, performance standards. Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act actually has federal metrics and performance measures that we have to meet. We are currently under 5 performance measures. Next year it'll grow to 11. Just the long and short of it, of the 5 performance measures we're being accounted for by the state of Ohio and by the federal government, we are exceeding 4 and meeting 1 of them. And they're basically just, of the individuals that come and get intensive assistance, how many of those individuals 2 and 4 quarters after they leave the program are either in education or employment. That's basically what we're being measured on. So, that's it from a 50,000-foot level. Unless there are any questions for me, and you can certainly ask questions at the end, I'd like to turn it over to Margot, and she can just talk about some of the specific things that they're doing.
I get this every month. I've already sent it to Commissioner Claypool. So this is a handout that I developed for you folks. It's 8 pages, but I won't go through 8 pages. I get the giggle.
Thanks.
All right, we're just gonna hit some of the highlights, and probably the premier thing that we did this year was that we did a CDL specialized training for about 25 low-income laid-off Geauga residents. What we did, we went to competitive bid, and we ended up using the provider of Great Lakes Truck Driving School. They provided the training and a number of other services for individuals for like an all-inclusive price. And that included 6 weeks training class, weekly transportation to and from Great Lakes Truck Driving School, which is in Lorain County, overnight accommodations, including weekend in case we had somebody that was homeless. All the meals were provided, that way I made certain they all had good nutrition. Testing fees, work boots, job placement assistance, and we also provided a job fair. It was actually a reverse job fair like we do for our Career Center, and an interactive soft skills class for them. Out of the, we did a huge outreach to over 2,000 homes that potentially had some folks that were eligible. We ended up with probably talking to 50, 60 individuals who were, actually 70% were over the age of 40. It's kind of interesting, individuals completely changing their occupational backgrounds. And with that, we came up with about 27 actually, 27, including some folks that couldn't wait for the programs. 1 started before and then 2 started after. I include them in the statistics. And we also, so the schools were in February and April, 2 different cohorts. And I'll give you the statistics on completion and salaries and things in a moment. There's another thing that we did, not only made them eligible, they went through an orientation process at Great Lakes, they were interviewed there, went through background checks, and then the school process in order to be admitted. Making sure everybody had a driver's license. That's wasteful. You're gonna drive a truck. But there's, on the next page are the stats, and I love the numbers. We spent, because it's expensive to do that, but I feel we got our payback for accounting, because these are all Geauga County residents. The grand total was right around $250,000 when I tumbled in wages and the outreach, tuition, all the things to be able to put a school like this on. And our outcomes, so far 78% are finished the program, passed the CDL exam. We have 2 still in the program, they had to stop and then restart. And I did have 4 that stopped participation. So once we have these last two through the school and working, we're at 85%. Starting out, starting wage, I'm estimating about $770,000 gross wage, and that's just because they're in probationary period. After they finish probation, most of them are getting increase in their wage, and it's $885,000. I'm not including any overtime in this, and CDL drivers are almost always overtime. But the final, I'm projecting in about a year's time, $1.2 million of wages for Jaga residents. And that I did calculate, I think I put 10 hours of overtime in that, so that's actually probably a very conservative figure. That's quite a ratio.
So when do they start to pay us back?
Soon. They're almost all working, they probably are already, yeah.
So,
No, I'm being serious. I mean, we keep on dumping money into this. $250,000 is no, walk in the park. I mean, I think that we invest in something, it would be like you go into the bank and putting $250,000 in, Key Bank and asking them to just keep it and use it. And if they lose it, that's okay too, but you'd expect something to come back, I mean, this is where we run into the problem. And this is why this program is tough, because they should be paying this forward. We took care of them, have them do a payback over time to help the next group. But then we're being able to put this money towards something else. But instead, it's just a constant flush of cash. The taxpayers are footing. It's just, I think the program, listen, I know your efforts are great. The initiation of the plan sucks. It does, because there's no reciprocation to us. We keep on dumping money. And we're making successful people. No different, this is no different than a student loan, in a sense. You gotta pay your student loan back. These people don't have to pay nothing back. Why, is the question. Why? I'm asking you.
Well, and that's something that if, the commissioner's input is that we should move towards, a program where I guess we invest less and require more skin in the game. That is something that we can do. I think the approach here, though, was, especially noting what Margot said, was for older individuals. These individuals probably wouldn't have either been able to afford it or...
But we don't want to discriminate. I'm not
Yeah,
here to discriminate
sure.
older or younger, because an older person could probably go and get a student loan also. I don't think that they're going to discriminate with them.
Sure.
It comes down to, this isn't a matter of age or race, gender, nothing. It's about jobs, and it's about trying to help people get to the next step. But how do we help the next group to get to the next step? We help them, and it's the old, cliche, just take. And where there's too many takers and not enough givers, and give back to this program and have it established that here's the deal. Like these, the four guys that bailed out, they should be paying, We should be leaning them, because we put faith in them and we put an investment in them, and they backed out. They quit. And at the end of the day, there's no prize. All there is a prize in this. There's no penalty. I wouldn't put it this way. If you asked me for another $250,000, I wouldn't support it.
Sure.
Because I don't see the plan returning funds back. It doesn't make sense. You could never do this in private entity. If you or me in a private business tried to run this, you would die, because you couldn't afford to do nothing. But we're a government, so we just keep on throwing money. It just makes no sense, but.
Let me ask you, have you heard this from somebody
Yes.
before?
Yes,
And I have not
Commissioner.
talked to Ralph about this. By the way, I have suggested, here's something, particularly with the truck driving program, and I can't say enough good things about Margot. She does an outstanding job. These job fairs and all that kind of stuff are phenomenal in terms of putting them together. The question that Ralph asked, and I've asked in the board meetings, because I sit on the board oftentimes, are we putting the money in the right place? Truck driving, there is a dramatic shortage on truck drivers right now. My wife's company would pay to train every single driver that you could bring forward that are qualified to her company. There are a ton of companies that would pay if we took this money and invested it in making connections, you could triple, double, quadruple the numbers of people that are getting trained, and double, quadruple the tax dollars and the benefit to the people in Geauga County. Our mindset, and it's being driven by those who have a big government kind of a mentality, is just to put money into it, put money into it, put money into it, and not consider other more innovative solutions that leverage that money to get a bigger return. And so when I've said this before, and so I appreciate Ralph saying similar things.
I mean, listen, I get it, and it's just, the thing is, this is the whole driving job, and I think it's a great idea, and I don't know who came up with this, if you did, Margot, or who did, but I think it's a great idea. But it's a job that you can make a decent wage on overnight, in the sense that you start into it, if you have those credentials, and there's like Skip said, there's a huge demand for it. But we should be able to look at this and just say, we've got to try to look at how does the program pay for itself and help others. You know, we gave these people a chance, and those people should basically be paying that forward, you know, and giving it so that, and I'm not saying that they need to pay you, you know, if there was 27 people, so it costed us about $10,000 a guy. But over the course of 24 months, if they paid us $400 a month or something, you know, at the end of the day, why could we not do that, to say, here's your repayment? You know, we'll help you to get started. We want to see you get on your feet. We're not going to kill you in the process, especially if somebody is homeless, going from homeless to $57,000 a year. You're not doing too bad. And God bless for what you guys are doing in this. But the payback is gotta be. We've got to figure this out, because it shouldn't be on the backs of the taxpayers to do this.
And just to add to that, and Skip, I think, stole my statement. Private industry out there is, and this isn't just truck drivers, I mean, they're in high demand, and actually the prices are way high right now because I'm dealing with it, but the private companies will invest in this, so if we, instead of taking tax dollars into that, maybe getting these truck driving companies together and say, look, this is in your interest, us doing these programs. So if they help facilitate those payments and invest in those drivers, so to keep these programs solvent, that's one way of doing it. But to continually dip into the piggy bank and just, everything's being shelled out, that something needs to come back in. And it reminds me of years ago, my grandfather was probably one of the first to start actually sending his employees to and paying for their college, because he needed them to be successful and he wanted them to stay there. And so, but that was a private investment because he knew he was going to get it on the back end, that investment. So, but I agree. I think this is a super opportunity for people. I mean, this is a good, you can make a nice living being a truck driver. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's a hard life, but it's a
Unlike
good
a lot of the
life.
training,
Yeah.
there's gonna be a job at the end if
In
you're.
January, to show me
Yeah.
where the line is, because I'll be standing in that line.
Yeah,
Gotta get your CV there.
yeah.
That's right, I'll be.
Breaker one night.
So we hear you loud and clear. The
Yeah.
more that we could do to leverage private investment and reduce the public, and whether it's, whether we have part of it be a loan or what have you, we can look into that. We certainly can.
Yeah, I think it would give you guys then the ability to grow your exposure in other areas, But if there's something set up in place that we say, here's the deal, and then it gives people something to work towards. Because when you pay for something, you appreciate
You
it.
own it.
Yes.
When you get it handed
Yeah.
out to you, what do you care?
That's right. Yeah.
But I appreciate, this is really a neat, it's successful,
Yeah, it is, for that kind
Yeah.
of percentage
Yeah.
of success, that's huge. You
Yeah.
hit something right on the head there,
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
But you've actually given me an idea on how to maybe move something like this forward,
Mhm.
hearing what private
And,
practice.
and like Ralph,
Yeah.
I think, was trying to say, you don't need to hammer them, it's not like, everything, as soon as you're out, you need to be,
Yeah.
trying to make ends meet or putting stress on the situation, but it should be a continual repayment of some sort, just so,
And they take ownership of the program too,
Mhm. just some thoughts, but,
No, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for all your hard work on it.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
excellent.
And there's
Great, too.
a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
But we
I know,
can
I
talk
hear
about
about you all
later.
through town, they,
Okay.
yeah. You see what a good job you're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
So is Catherine Holzer here?
Yeah, first, had contacted us through the county and Dave Fortis, and I've been back and forth with one, her daughter that contacted me.
Yeah.
They're doing a party for her, and they asked on the 25th, and they asked if you would do a resolution. and So it's just a request to approve and execute resolution 8153 honoring Catherine Ann Hartzholzer on her 90th birthday.
Wow,
Well, congratulations. For another 100 years.
Yeah.
wow.
She was one of 7 kids.
Where do they live? Where are they from?
He was, after he was in the military, in career military, he got out
Still.
from the Air Force. They bought a farm.
This is the husband?
Parkman.
Yeah. okay.
Parkman?
Yeah, the husband.
Okay.
So when they got out,
That's
they bought
awesome.
a farm in Parkman. And some of the kids actually still live on the property that they bought back in the late 60s.
Nice.
Very nice. Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Bishop Bickle.
Yes.
Aye. And the engineer's office. Morning.
Morning.
So snowing?
These two.
Yeah, I think these two.
Don't you guys have a hard time finding CDL drivers?
We do, good qualified, yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Pass drug test, that's number one. That's always the trick.
Yeah.
I think with this last time go-around that we have, we actually are sending some to training.
Yeah.
You know, we brought them in, find good people that don't have CDLs.
And that- Exactly.
We've actually, on the probation period, they go out and, I don't know what Frank has in mind if they leave within a certain time, but,
Right,
you know. but
That's a good
we do-
idea.
We are sending them because it's hard to find them.
Yep.
So.
They're demanding big money now too. I mean, these truckers, the price for me moving, it's gone through the
Oh,
roof.
Yeah,
Through
freight
the
is,
roof.
freight is huge. Huge. So what do we have today?
Item 7 is the final change order for the asphalt resurfacing of Auburn Road, Section P, and Thwing Road, Section C. It's a decrease in the actual contract of $11,764 and some change.
Do you want to do 8 and 9 also then?
I can do 8, I
Or
won't do
eight.
9 because 9's a different contract.
Okay.
8 is the final change order for the asphalt resurfacing of Jug Street and Grove Road in Troy Township. It is an increase in the contract of $4,336. Both of those are just incidental, actual amount of material used to cover the existing road.
So we get to put some money back in our pocket, just not so much.
Not as much on one side here.
So moved.
Second?
Bishop Bickle.
Yeah.
Bishop Leonard.
Yes.
Bishop Spillier.
Aye.
Item 9 is the final change order for the asphalt resurfacing at Kyle Road. Roniak Paving was the contractor. This is a decrease in the final contract in the amount of $82,148.60. That's a large amount from normal. We non-performed the guardrail work that we needed to do after we milled it and then put the asphalt back in. Guardrail still was within spec. So we were able to eliminate some dollars, with the project. So, a lot larger of a number than normal, but we were able, as we're out there, we're not just doing work because it was in the contract.
Okay. Second?
Bishop Bickle. Bishop Leonard.
Yes.
Bishop Spillier.
Yes.
Item 10 on the agenda is a continuation of some of the items that Joe's been working on to make the road safer as part of his responsibility. A couple of the areas you've seen us, we've been removing guardrail, which in itself is a obstruction as it is. The location here, we're asking the board to accept and execute an easement for highway purposes with Stephen J. Saunders. His property is on Auburn Road, over by the Kimbridge Estates in Newbury. We'll be removing a length of guardrail I think it's, the easement covers .015 acres, but it's in the amount of $336.
So in the thinking of this, and we actually did one right by my house
Correct.
last year, is to eliminate these guardrails. I mean, it's gonna be a savings down the road, right?
It's a maintenance.
And maintenance, but then it's a safety thing too, right?
Right,
Wait, so
we're grading the
there's-
side slopes for safety grading.
Right.
So if a vehicle does run off, right now, most of the culverts, the thoughts in the process was to fit the culvert with inside your right of way. So a lot of times if you're filling a road and you only have a culvert that's 40 feet, you know, to
Yeah.
get this straight down shot.
That's
So
right.
that slope you can't traverse, so you have to put something to protect the slope, and that was the guardrail. So what we're able to do with these easements is extend the actual culvert itself.
Right.
And then provide the safety grading so that you have a traversable slope that you can recover your vehicle, you know, or at least, you know, not hit something within that range. So the easement, the landowner that we're working with has seen the work we did on Fairmont, seen the work we did on Caves, and was
It's
like,
great.
he's like, I'm all for
Yeah.
it. So,
It's made a huge difference. I mean, we had trash trucks and snow plows and everything falling off the side of the road right into my, you know, they would come down that
It
hill.
was a steep- it was a
Yeah.
steep slope,
So
so-
now it's, you know, if they were to go off, which they don't seem to go off now for whatever reason, but, you know, because I think it's, you know, they were grabbing the edge and getting
Yeah.
ripped off the side of the road or whatever.
and that was part of when we removed it, we were able to put
Right.
some side slopes to it, get a little bit more shoulder, and then put the force slope down to where you can.
No, it's, you know, I think it's a good thing. I mean, obviously in the long run too, it's, you know, cuts down on maintenance and everything else, so I appreciate it.
Okay.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lyon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Nick.
Take care. I'm on aging. How you doing?
So last month, we went out for our nutrition bid program for our home delivered meals and congregate meal program. We received, two of the bids were significantly lower than the others. Once we looked into all of the information that we were given, the lowest bid did come from the nutrition group. And after visiting all of the sites and after going through all of their equipment, we did find out that the nutrition group did not comply with the bid specs in regards to their freezing operations for frozen meals. So the next lowest bid was Page. Because they follow all the bid specs and they're the second lowest bid, we feel that they are the best bid. So I'm here today asking to reject the bid from the nutrition group and to award our 2-year nutrition bid to Page Food Services.
How much less was the nutrition bid?
Just about 90,000.
Yeah,
About
yeah.
90,000 less.
Yeah.
Over the course of 2 years, so about 45,000 less a year. And this is the max bid. This isn't necessarily what we will spend, but this is the max bid.
And what did they do? They didn't freeze the food?
Yeah, so they did not meet the bid specs. They have to have a certain kind of freezer called a chill blast freezer, and they do not have that to immediately bring the food to thaw it at a certain level and then freeze it appropriately for purposes, and that is in the bid specs.
And is that something that, is it something that they were aware of with the bid?
They received the bid, it had all of the requirements in it. That is true.
All right.
So they were aware of it. And so as I said, these are the max bids, and just for a brief perspective, just if you're wondering how many meals go out per year, for home delivered meals last year, we had 429 seniors served with a total of 50,412 meals served for home delivered meals. And for our congregate meals, the senior centers will serve 680 seniors with 15,410 meals served.
And who does our thing now?
Page.
Page is in.
That is correct. You had a
Do
question?
you have any numbers on how much is donated from seniors receiving this? How much money do you recoup back from those who can afford to pay?
Sure, that's a great question. So our home delivered meals coordinator, what she does on a quarterly basis, she does send a mailing out to all of the recipients on the meal program and tell them how many meals that they've consumed, the cost per meal, and if they'd like to make a donation toward or of the amount of their meal, she does send that out. We did, I believe, put a new line item on our budget sheet for this year to track home delivered meals and congregate meals separately.
Mhm.
Right now, we just have one bulk nutrition donation, but we do receive donations. I do not have that amount, but we're trying to better break it out. We also have fundraisers for the meals. We just did our Shindig and Schnitzel fundraiser. And we're also going into our Season of Giving campaign to help boost with the home delivered meal cost to try to, to put that.
Okay. We have a motion.
So,
Second.
Commissioner Claypool?
Mhm.
Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner Spiller?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the request to approve the placement of Christine Bacon, our senior center supervisor, on paid administrative leave effective November 13th until further notice.
so moved.
Second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Brown?
Yes.
Commissioner
Hi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Morning, Roger.
Hi, Roger.
So, every year, my agency puts an agreement together with the local emergency planning committee, where DES handles all of the chemical reporting, all the EPA reporting, all the state of Ohio reporting, the grants, secretary treasurer responsibilities, the compliance reports, and any kind of request for information. So that's what number 14 is just maintaining the chemical filing forms and records in the amount of $10,000.
So, I'm familiar, so those records, so a company, if they're using, say, a caustic material in their facility in Geauga County, they have it on file with you?
Yeah, so if you're an EHS, an extra hazard chemical facility,
Yeah.
we get those reports, and then what we also do is we map all those reports, and then we give that out to the individual fire departments.
Okay.
So the individual fire departments have a map of where their chemicals are at, and we also, this last year, what we did was we put it into GIS. And
Oh,
then,
good.
so if they, let's just say that the Tim Lennon Company
Yeah.
had X amount of this, we put it on a map, and if it's heavier than air, we show where the evacuation route would be, who's involved.
Huh.
So we help with a lot
Oh,
of
that's
pre-planning
great.
for a lot of that.
Yeah.
stuff.
So if a event happens when they're responding, it'll come up maybe in their system saying, hey, potential,
Yes.
whatever is in there.
Yeah, and then it's also, when we meet with the fire chiefs and when we have the LEPC meetings, we bring a lot of this stuff up. And so it's a continual just reminder, this
So
is what we have.
that's filed with the it's filed with the county, and then, but it's also, does the state make them file with as well?
Yeah.
For different things?
Yeah, so it goes to the state then gets it down to the county, and then we distribute it at the local level. And
Okay.
make sure all the responders are on the up and up. And then we also keep track of what the chemicals are in the county, so that we're better prepared to respond to them.
Sure.
So if we know that we have X amount of pounds of this, we make sure that we have response resources available to take care of that in the event of emergency.
I see.
So
Good.
This is, you correct me if I'm wrong, Roger, but this is a good example of government getting more efficient.
Exactly. I was
Well,
just gonna
because
say.
the history on this
Yeah.
is, we get filing fees or something, so the LEPC has a fund. So when I first started here, they had an employee that was employed by the LEPC, and that lady made like $40,000 a year plus benefits, and did these filings. But over time, I think when that lady moved on, DES under Dale looked at this and said, we can have an MOU where the staff that's at DES can do all that same paperwork and just by contract. So we eliminated a position and all the expense related to the position. And now there's a $10,000 contract where you guys handle that administrative.
And that contract, I've been looking at costs and needs, and I've actually been decreasing that amount.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it was at 15, I think it was down to 12, and I said, you know what, we can handle this for 10.
Yeah.
So, and what that does is that frees up more money for the LEPC fund to purchase supplies for the responders.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
So,
Becoming more efficient as we figure things out.
trying.
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah,
Always. Rob.
yeah,
You're doing
always
a great
impressed
job.
with what you do there.
Thank you.
So do we have a motion on
Yep,
this?
so moved. Second?
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes,
Commissioner Spillier?
thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, have a good weekend.
You too.
Transit?
Transit?
You don't look like Patricia, Dave, Dennis.
How are you?
Oh.
Good, how are you?
Good, buddy. Good, good.
How about you guys?
Good.
Hanging in there.
So moved. I want to beat it, you know, it used to be, we read them, and I knew when I'm supposed to come in, but now since we're not reading them.
Jeez.
Just a rubber stamp over here.
That's right, yeah. Are you taking your rubber
For
stamp?
Mike, anything. you know.
Are you
Yeah.
taking your rubber stamp with you?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Where is it? Somebody hit it on me.
His rubber stamp says no.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Well, hell no.
Yeah.
No, that's just not the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going there tomorrow.
Enjoy.
Okay, have lunch on me. Where you doing?
I'll turn it in today. Yeah, there you go. Good luck with that.
No, they buy lunch also.
Okay, number 15, we have a probationary failure of Ms. Patricia Dennis. She was a good employee, hired her, she tried the job. Then realized that when it took her 45 minutes to come back from Chardon Square to our place, she went around the square about 4 times, and then we talked to her, and we realized that she went by landmarks, not by a map or GPS or anything
Okay.
else. We gave her the opportunity to come on in at a long time, review a red book with her, have her go out, get some landmarks, et cetera, et cetera. We did not hear from her. We have made numerous attempts to contact her. We have had no response. So based on that,
She just stopped showing up.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Aye.
Commissioner Lennon? Commissioner Spillier?
I thought I already.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Let me do another quick story on government efficiencies. One of the things Mike's done since he's been here is, he's, well, you don't even know what I'm gonna say. The bus advertising, you know, we talked about the bus wraps and all that, and he's, you know, I mean, it hasn't turned out to be a total gold mine, but he's worked very aggressively at it. I just heard at the director's meeting yesterday that Jessica is starting to put advertising on the senior vehicles that she has, they're transporting people on. It's like UH's.
So the.
So the senior department and aging is gonna get some advertising
Good.
money for their vehicles as well.
That's
So-
good.
I was gonna complain to
Competing
Jessica, I was following one of the Department on Aging vehicles the other day, the county plate on it, and they were going real slow, so I wanted to pass him in the worst way, but it looked like a police car, it had the lantern
Yeah.
on the side and all that kind of stuff. So I called them all the way down to 44, going really slow, and then they turned it, I discovered it was Department on Aging, I said, dang, I should have passed them.
They were probably doing the speed limit.
Yes.
Knowing them.
That's why I said they were going slow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
welcome.
thanks.
Have fun down there.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
Oh, yeah, you too. Water resources. Jerry?
Morning.
How are you?
Good.
So our new hire.
I was just gonna say, hopefully this is the
Last time,
You
yeah.
have to see me up here for
I
water
doubt it.
resources.
For some reason, I doubt it.
Here's the big list that Jerry is going to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
today.
Yeah, this is
Favorite
our
annual thing.
annual certification of the unpaid fees. The Ohio Revised Code allows us to certify to the property taxes for unpaid sewer and water bills. Helps us because we don't have, majority of our customers are only sanitary, so we have no way to shut them off if they don't pay their bill. Whereas, you know, on the water side, we can do that, but we don't have to because we have the Ohio Revised Code.
So it'll
They're
go on
able
the
to
property tax?
Go on to their property taxes and then, you know, they'll pay it over next year in their two installments. We do get about a 98% return on the property taxes. A lot of the customers who get certified, are customers who have never paid a sewer or water bill. It always goes on their taxes. You know, they pay a 6% fee for not paying during the year, and then there's another 6% fee when it gets certified, so I don't understand why they don't do that. My only best guess is that somehow they're using it as a tax break. but it doesn't, you know, when I've looked at it and tried to figure out why you would do that, it doesn't seem like you get back the 12% that you pay in fees. So, but they do it, and we have this wonderful ability to do this, so this is just approving the certification list for this year.
Okay.
Motion on that?
Second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lyle?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye. Thank you. Good morning.
Hello again.
You know Jessica?
Oh, yeah.
No, who is she?
No,
Nice to
new
meet
employee,
you.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm moving towards that 100-year mark, so I'm looking forward to my resolution.
Yeah.
It's quite an accomplishment.
So is it, so is
Not
Kelly
done.
gone? Is Kelly gone?
Yes.
She is gone. So is it,
Friday was the last day.
okay, okay. So has it been quiet, or are you getting busier? I imagine busier.
Busier,
Okay,
yeah.
good,
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
So we have a number of actions here this morning for the commissioners. The first one is a request to extend the cap on the vacation period for Mike. Mike just celebrated 8 years after rehire, and it triggered an additional 40 hours of vacation time. He's at a cap and he loses it. So I wanted to ask the board to consider extending that cap so he doesn't lose his vacation, and then I'm gonna urge him to use it.
You gotta use it, yeah, yeah.
Because that's the problem, he just hasn't been using it. I
Yeah,
think he only
if
took
you're,
one.
if you're cruising along with just under 200 hours built up as your cushion, and suddenly you hit that milestone, all of a sudden, bam, you got 40 hours, and it's impossible to, you know, take it immediately, so you end up losing on the policy.
Yeah,
So ideally, what you want to try to do with employees are getting close to that milestone is to get them down to
get the.
160
Well,
hours,
here's-
so when you get the.
Here's my thing on vacations, it is a vacation.
Yeah.
It's meant to be, so you go use it, go home, take a break, get away from here. It's not as a 401K or an investment opportunity
Right.
or a way
Just
to,
get paid.
right. So let's call it what it is, it's a vacation, you know, and I would, that's, and I think any business will tell you, they, you know, they don't have anything like this set up, you know, nothing like these caps or building up, and I think we're pretty conservative when it comes to this, you know, I think there's some other
Well, we have
areas-
limits of it.
Yeah, at least there's a limit,
Yeah,
yeah, which, but you know, every company I've ever worked for, you know, it's use it or lose it, you know.
Mhm.
So, you know, I don't know what, you know, what your thinking is here as far as a 6-month period is to, so he's gonna be over the 200 hours, is that what the problem
He
is?
is, he will be now.
Okay,
So under the policy, you can waive it, and the 6 months is designed to give him time to take that week of vacation and not disrupt the operation.
second,
Commissioner Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Lyle?
yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Right.
But they will use it though.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll make them, yeah, yeah.
In the 6 months, if he'll lose,
Yeah,
he's
'cause
still
I-
over.
Here's a parting comment.
Maybe I'm not understanding
And
this.
I was tempted to push back on this a little bit.
Right.
But it's Mike and whatever. But we need to make it clear to our employees across the board, you know, that we shouldn't be facing these kind of decisions, because they should be using their vacation
Yeah,
appropriately. And so,
that's the
you know,
purpose of it.
that's right.
Yeah, I mean, he
You
should have
know,
been looking out ahead and say, okay, I need to get my vacation down to 160 before I hit this milestone.
The reason you have caps is because of this situation.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you hit a cap, sorry, but
It's just not being managed properly,
Right.
so it won't be.
you need to, like you just said, manage that differently.
Okay, so the next item, 18, pertains to the grant work that's being done at the Berkshire local schools. Apparently there was a sink or valve that was damaged during installation. So we're requesting that we increase the amount by $938.
That's an expensive valve. So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lyle?
Yes.
The next item also involves a grant. And that involves.
Hey, can we back up for just a second? I'm sorry. I apologize to the other board members. So this valve was damaged. Who damaged it?
Lakeland Management damaged it. It broke due to age when they were putting a new sink in.
Oh, okay. So
Probably
it wasn't
wasn't in the
something they
original.
did and they
negligence.
caused it. It wasn't negligence on there, because I was gonna say, if it was negligence on their part, they broke a valve that was expensive, well, sorry, that's on you.
Yeah, no, it
You're
just
putting
broke due to age, and we took money from the elevator project to cover the change order.
Okay. Oh, thanks, appreciate it.
I figured you were on this.
She is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about the next item then?
Okay, so,
The next item is about.
item 19 is the final approval for the grant amendment, which if you're familiar with, it was, you approved the letter. It's to add the planning project and move it one home and increase speeds of plan.
So
Okay.
This is partial funding of the plan that we're talking
What do we,
To take it, your economic development plan he's working on.
Yeah.
We're shifting money that would have otherwise gone for the
Right.
home project to that.
That's right,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're saving money on that.
Good. So moved.
Did you second that?
Yeah.
he moved in, we did it
Commissioner
together.
Clickwell?
I'll give him this one.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Blair?
Aye.
Item,
The last item is simply asking for approval to change the names on the forms for Ocean, removing Kelly and adding Jessica and I to the forms.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Clickwell?
Mhm.
Commissioner Blair?
Thank you.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Jessica.
Good job this morning,
Yeah.
Dave, too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, are you gonna be around today?
Yes.
Okay, I wanna give you a call.
Do I have him in
Do you want him
executive
to go
session?
into the next one?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yes, actually. Okay, yeah. Want to move into session now?
So you need to motion to move
I
into
moved
executive
to,
session.
what are we going to executive session?
Further discussing the employment of a public employee of
Discussing the purpose of employing a public employee. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Assessment is not-
Yeah, well, she said that our agenda is incorrect.
I see.
That was her statement this morning. so
Okay,
I said,
good to know.
yeah, we've been doing it for a while, so.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah.
With prosecutor review.
Yeah, with the prosecutor reviewing it.
So you want,
Those two.
Yeah.
you want Dave and Jerry meeting over this?
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. That'd be good.
Do I have a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Clickwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Blair?
Trying to do
I'm more confused, so there's more Christian programs I had.
I didn't realize DJI was.
I don't understand. And I know I'm old.
Yeah, that's the magic drums.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my son was telling.
Executive session at 11:20, and have action.
The Department of Development is requesting the board grant permission to advertise internally for the position of full-time program administrator number 1402 for a period of 5 days with applications accepted November 16, 2018 through 4:30 PM, November 20th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Clickwell?
Yep.
Commissioner Leonard?
Yes.
Commissioner Spudler?
Okay, Dave, what did you want to talk about?
And then, so, submitted to you all to review two separate letters of two different subjects. The first is, you received a letter here, last Friday at the office from the Court of Common Pleas regarding the issue of the lobby ceiling, hallway ceiling on the first floor. So, a letter was created, and I think kind of nicely states a good response basically to the judges that we were we are concerned, and if you read the judge's letter, they're basically, they weren't saying here, you gotta go ahead with this program
No.
that you delayed, or that you held off on, but you do have to inspect it and make sure it's safe. And I'm sure that's something that we'd be doing in any event.
Right.
So if you're, I guess Christie has an action, if you wanna go ahead and execute that letter, we can send it up there.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute a letter of response to Judges Burton and Paschke in regards to the repairs of the ceiling and lobby and hallway on the first floor of the courthouse.
Second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
I think that's it then, right?
You wanna sign that?
Are you in the other one, or?
Yeah, the second document that was presented to you each to look at was a draft press release, which is entitled Statement of Commitment from the Geauga County Commissioners regarding the construction of new county facilities. And it's a full-page document, and it has a lot of stuff in there, but I attempted in one page to kind of give everyone the history of county buildings. How did we get to where we are today? And then it concludes basically saying, based on the work that's been done for the commissioners by our consultant, that what makes financial sense for the county, in financial sense, logistical efficiency sense, safety sense, it makes sense in every way we can look at it, that we move forward with a project. Now, it's still very general, because what was presented was just basically the case, say, it's gonna cost about this much to build new buildings, and we're talking about replacing all the buildings the county operates out of in the city of Chardon. And building new buildings either on the 35 acres at the south end of Chardon, which there'll be something done there in any event, because a number of offices have to remain in the city of Chardon. And then the decision has to be made, well, do you build some of the buildings that are currently, or some of the departments currently in Chardon that don't really have a business reason or a legal reason to be here? I'll point to Water Resources. They have their administrative office across the street, but there's no reason why they have to be up here. It might make sense for them to be down with the other employees at the center of the county. So all the specifics have to be worked out. But the purpose of this press release is to kind of put a line in the sand to say this Board of Commissioners is going to move forward with the process of building the buildings.
Would it be helpful for us to put it up online as an explanation?
It's a public record.
Sure.
Yeah, public record.
I actually made copies ahead of time.
Yeah.
And I think to add to that, and it's in your letter, but on top of, what's best for potentially looking at making the decision for the future of Geauga is also, we've researched reinvesting back into our current situation in certain buildings, and we've all come to that conclusion that is just not a viable path going that way. For example, the courthouse ceiling is one right now, is just kind of the tip of the spear, I think, in frequency of these type of incidences are just gonna keep compounding themselves. And, to keep chasing those and fixing those with Band-Aids, that's just bad money. It's just bad money being spent. And we're gonna be forced to make bad decisions, whether we like it or not. Like this ceiling, we may be forced to fix that situation and spend a bunch of money there, and we have no really recourse not to,
Right.
So,
Right.
I think we're at the beginning, we're on that path now. Whether we get off that path and go a different direction or not, that's the question,
Excuse me, another question?
Mhm.
I could have expected that issue from last week regarding the ceiling it was tabled, but I expected it to be presented here today.
Yeah.
And it wasn't? Is
Yeah.
there a current timetable on that?
Well, I think with the letter, obviously the judges heard that we tabled it, and they had concern of that we were, saying no to it, which we were not saying no to it. We were tabling it to research it further. I myself went over there the following day and met with maintenance and took a look at it. And then I believe, Skip, you went a couple days ago, and Dave and I both went, and Dave kind of explained to Ralph what the two of us saw. I think what we're gonna continue to do is research this a little further. The the one thing that I think caught us all a little off guard at first was the dollar amount being requested first of all. You know, that was the kind of, and a lot of that cost has been driven up because they want to do it over Thanksgiving break. You know, and I think that was what was driving up the cost a lot,
So overtime, you think?
and if it's a safety issue or not, I mean, my feeling is if this is a safety issue, we should stop the presses and get it done right away.
Well,
You know,
if people can't,
yeah.
literally, people can't
Yeah.
be walking those areas
No.
where there might be a safety issue.
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah.
But this has kind of been an ongoing thing, it sounds like, from the letter from the judges for the last, maybe 5-6 years, that there's been some incidences where pieces have fallen down on the ceiling tiles above, and nobody's been injured or hurt, or I don't think there's been any official reports or incident reports filed by anybody, but, maybe it's, but what we're doing is, it's prudent to take a step back, see what we're dealing with, and we just haven't made a decision yet, I think.
Maintenance is gonna be evaluating
Okay,
the
what do you figure,
necessities
the
of
next
what.
90 days or something?
I would think
I
probably.
don't think it'll take that long,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we gotta determine pretty quickly if there's really any kind of safety
Okay.
issue.
And it may not come back before the board because maintenance may decide that it's something, the couple issues there are may be able to be handled internally by themselves
In-house?
rather than, yes.
Mhm.
But it's just
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay, so that was really just an initial
And again,
assessment.
and again, this was part of as maintenance director, Glenn's been doing this job for over 10 years, and, over the years, he's heard a lot of expressions from commissioners all saying the right things about, we really need to be looking at new facilities. But he's got a responsibility, he can't assume that he should just put stuff off because eventually we'll build new buildings. He has to act on it. So he'd started the process of having someone look at the building and schedule these things way before we got to the point with this study where now it's appearing that there's a clear financial argument in terms of us being able to pay for new buildings. At least now there appears to be a clear path forward to say we
So
can.
you've got a
We need to do,
crossover
we need to do
point.
this and we can afford to do this, so we're gonna move forward and do it. So that wasn't available to Glenn at the time he started to set up some of
Gotcha.
these jobs in the future. But knowing that now is another reason to let's just not pull the trigger, let's make sure there's nothing dangerous
Yeah.
and get that out of the way first. And then going forward, I've already had that conversation with a few other, at least one other elected official that has some expectations about upgrading where they're at to say, I know you've been hearing this for years, but I believe this is really gonna happen now, so we really gotta stop spending any money where we're not gonna get that back.
Right.
Again, second question, since that letter from the judges was announced, is that a public document as well?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
get you a
Yeah,
copy of that.
I'd be grateful.
Yep.
I'd be grateful.
Do I have a motion to approve next week the press release regarding the statement amendment on the construction of the new town office?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Mr. Spudler?
Right.
And there is one other item that was on the agenda.
Oh, yes.
I have to go to the bathroom.
You went in the bathroom.
Just go ahead and handle it.
Yeah.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve the request from Commissioner-elect Jim Dvorak to cover the expenses associated with travel to CPA and the conference in Columbus being held December 9th to 11, 2019, pursuant to ORC 325.10 and 901.10. We approved Mr. Claypool as Commissioner-elect, and we approved Mr. Lennon as Commissioner-elect to go to winter conference in 14 and 16. They, in my history since I've been here with the county, when they first started doing the winter conference, they did not have a lot of new commissioner type stuff when I first started going. Now, over the years, it seems that they have increased incoming commissioner, the orientation and
Yeah.
participation and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of things that are scheduled on Sunday during the day before the actual conference starts for incoming commissioners, so. Do I I have a motion?
Yeah.
You have a question?
No, not about that, something different.
Oh.
This is within the discretion of the board. You just-
I understand
What
that.
we're citing is that the Ohio Revised Code allows it as a legal expenditure. But it's up
Correct.
to the board if whether or not they want to do it.
Correct. I have to send in registration forms today in order to get in on the early dollar amount.
I'll make the motion.
Does he even, have you even confirmed that he can go to it?
I did talk to him after, following the election results. And he did express interest in going, and he would like to be there. And I have sent him the information on the event. And hotel rooms were booked for all of those that were interested in going, and there was a fifth one that was booked in the event of, the result of the election. That can always be canceled if necessary. I know Mr. Claypool, I need to confirm whether you are still going or not.
No, I'm not going.
You're not?
I'll second
Commissioner Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Lund?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
One last item. You don't have to worry about doing the wells in South Russell Village for the geological survey. They're gonna be paying for it from here on in. It was passed on Monday at their meeting, yes.
That's wonderful.
$13,400, I think is what.
They're gonna take that out of the park monies that they're.
Oh, I don't know how they're gonna
You
get
said
it.
South
Russell.
South Russell.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
South
South
Russell
Russell was
Village.
always paying that.
I think
weren't
They were doing theirs anyways, right?
Were they?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
I
they
thought I
were doing-
remember that they were always covering their own anyway.
Yeah.
it.
Mr. Hart was there and gave a presentation.
Oh.
So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Oh, that, David.
I was gonna tell you something.